Welcome to Updated Autopsy Report, a podcast from Yotsuben and Friends where we replay the entire Ace Attorney series with longtime fans and newcomers. I'm your host, Ben, and with me today is Dessy.
Hello.
And two good friends of ours, Tiago.
Yo!
And Rose.
Hi.
Dessy and I are the longtime fans, and Rose and Tiago are the newcomers. We hope that through both of our perspectives as we play through the series, it'll reveal new details and provide interesting commentary for a series near and dear to us. Today, we have all played the first case of the Great Ace Attorney: Adventures, The Adventure of the Great Departure. This is the first case in this game, which is kind of, well, a departure from the rest of the Ace Attorney series. I guess, do y'all want to kind of delve into some table setting here first, or did you want to give some initial vibes up front instead? Because I've got a lot of notes.
Initial vibes. I'm kind of in love.
Kind of vibing with it? Okay.
I like it a lot. I like a lot of brown. There's a lot of wood in this court. I like wood.
This is true.
I'm feeling positive. Yeah. And the visuals are really gorgeous, as Tiago mentioned. So
it is a very pretty game.
It is really, really nice looking. Models, animations, backgrounds, music, just, yeah. And the case wasn't too bad either. I kind of liked it. I was pretty happy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess one of the biggest changes up front is that, hey, we're back to a Shu Takumi-led game. He is the lead dev on this. He's the lead writer, and he's kind of helming this ship from not quite top to bottom, but he's doing a lot of work here, and he put a lot of himself into this game.
Yeah, and you can sure fucking feel it.
It really does feel like a lot of his writing stylings, right, are coming back into the front. It feels like a lot of his style of jokes are back, at least to me anyway. Mm-hmm. This game started development after Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. Takumi was asked by Capcom. Yeah, he was asked by Capcom to make another Ace Attorney game, and he was a little hesitant to do an Ace Attorney game specifically again, but he had always wanted to do a Sherlock Holmes game all the way back since the original Ace Attorney. And he also had a gameplay idea in mind all that time as well, which we will not see until Case 2. But he's had these ideas kind of bouncing around in his head for a very long time. And he was like, well, if you really want me to make an Ace Attorney game, I want to make an Ace Attorney and Sherlock Holmes game. So that is what he did.
But we're not there yet.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. There's still a decent amount of Sherlock Holmes stuff in this case, despite the man himself not showing up yet. Mm-hmm. This first game released in Japan in June 2015 on the 3DS originally, and it did not come out here in America in the West, as you might know. This is kind of a famously unlocalized game for a long time, and for a while
I do remember the hype when the fan translation came out.
Yes, that's actually something I was going to mention, because fans did make a fan translation of this first game that they released in chunks and was eventually completed in March of 2019. So they were working on it for quite a while there to kind of localize it, because it sure seemed like it wasn't going to come over. The reasons for that were never explicitly stated by Capcom. In June 2016, while promoting Ace Attorney 6, the series producer Ishiro mentioned, like, in an interview, that he knows that people really want the game in English, but he just would say certain circumstances are preventing its release, and he would not elaborate beyond that. everybody kind of was reading between the lines and assuming that the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle estate's known litigious nature was kind of running interference for this. We do not ever have confirmation that was the case, so I'm not like here to say that 100% that was the reason, or perhaps even the only reason. There could be other things that were hindering its localization, but given the state that the game released in when it does eventually come over here, with such names as Herlock Sholmes and Dr. John Wilson instead.
I didn't know he was here.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was going to be here.
Yeah, Dr. John Wilson
I literally know nothing about this game. I've seen a picture of Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Right.
I've seen the cover of this game.
That's it. Yes. So, yes, I'm very excited to see, because Rose, you are a bit of a Sherlock Holmes fan, correct?
I am indeed. I have read all of the stories several times. I have watched a lot of adaptions, some good, some not so good.
Discombobulate.
Yeah, I'm pro discombobulation. I like the
I do like
I like
movie.
the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes. I think those were very fun and I had a pretty good time. Yeah, I really like Sherlock Holmes, so I'm excited. And I was actually thinking of rereading the books alongside playing this, but I have to get back to my parents' house and get my copy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of references hidden into this. Sherlock Holmes references are hidden in here, aside from just the surface level stuff, and we can get into some of those as we make our way through the case. But basically, then in April of 2021, Capcom and Shu Takumi announced that Great Ace Attorney would be coming over to the West, localized as Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. It would collect both games and release them on modern platforms like Switch, PS4, PC, all that good stuff. And that was also when they confirmed that, yes, Sherlock Holmes is going to be called Herlock Sholmes in the US version. He is still called Sherlock Holmes in Japan. He is still called Dr. John Watson in Japan, right? All those names are exactly those names in the original Japanese release, but it has been changed just for the American and European releases.
Which is silly, because the official name of Sherlock Holmes has been attached to some really poor video games in the past. So just throwing that out there. Questionable choices. Our Conan Doyle estate, come at me. Terrible point and clicks. Not all of them, but some of them.
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm backing Rose up. What the fuck,
Thank you.
Doyle?
They're not all bad, but there have been some mediocre video games, shall we say.
I mean, the name Herlock Sholmes, I will say, does have some precedent, right? The Maurice LeBlanc Lupin stories, right? The Arsène Lupin stories, where he bumps into one Herlock Sholmes and Dr. John Wilson, right? That was done way back, when those stories were originally being released. So it's not like this is not a storied tradition, right? To use somebody else's characters and just tweak the name slightly, so you can say, well, it's parody, right? The other thing that you guys might have noticed as playing through this case is that they use a UK voice cast, much like they did for Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright as well. When localizing the game, Janet Shu and crew, they really intentionally went out of their way to pick, UK voice actors, and for all the Japanese characters, UK voice actors of Japanese descent, right? So, like, Ryunosuke is played by Mark Ota, and Susato is played by Rina Takasaki. So, again, they're going out of their way for, like, hey, we want to find the right voice actors for the job that would sound like, again, the person who would be in these circumstances, a Japanese person who's now going over to London, right? And is learning English from those folks, right? So they would likely have that accent. So that's kind of a fun way. And also, I don't know, there's something about a UK dub for a video game that somehow gives it an extra little layer of prestige. I don't know what it is, right? The Xenoblade games are the same way.
I don't feel that at all.
It's good to keep a record.
Dude, it's good to keep a record.
It is
all right?
good to keep a record.
Monato's power and all that.
Tiago lore time. I love Xenoblade Chronicles. I've played all 3. They're fucking fantastic. I love it when it basically, this is like, I don't know if this is like an elitist point of view, but honestly, it's something that like I'm kind of sick and tired of seeing all the same voice actors be in every video game. Right. So like, it is a breath of fresh air to hear a voice and be like, I don't know who that is. This is a new character that I get to meet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, I thought for a second to list some VAs and I chose against it because I don't want to cause any beef. But that,
we gotta stop asking Ben to bleep shit out because it's too much work.
We got a post-recording message about that. Yeah. We will not be causing beef, but I want you to know that if you're thinking of a famous voice actor, I'm sick of them. Give me a new guy or a new woman, new person. There it is.
Alrighty. And I think the last little bit I have kind of for upfront notes is the main art duties here are Kazuya Nuri again, who was also character designer on Apollo Justice and on Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, and Yasumasa Kitagawa and Hiromitsu Maiba are on the music this time, and Kitagawa was the composer for, again, Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. So, as you can see, the crew that Takumi kind of set up there in both kind of the Apollo Justice game and the crossover game, he liked a lot of those people. They kind of came back and worked with him again for this one. So this is really why I thought it was important to play Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright earlier in our series, is because there is a lot of stuff from that game that comes back here. There's a lot of stuff that Takumi focuses on and finds interesting gameplay-wise and story-wise that actually comes up here, right? So that is why I was like, well, even though it's a crossover game and technically not canon or anything like that, I think we should include it.
I'm glad we played that game because I enjoyed playing it.
That was a fun game.
I genuinely enjoyed it.
I think that's my favorite 3DS Ace Attorney so far. I like it more than Dual Destinies and Spirit of Justice because of the Muppets.
Yeah, I support
go a long
that.
Way.
Well, we really liked those Muppets, and you know what? It looked good. I got to meet Luke. The music was good. I'm excited.
This is true.
Excited about that for sure.
My homie Luke.
Yeah, I love Luke now. Yeah. I'm happy. He's in my life.
Rose, I still gotta come over, like, just give you all the Layton games on your 3DS so that you can just play them.
Yeah, I mean,
you'll have to do puzzles, which is the tough part.
Yeah, listen, the over/under on me actually finishing the complete like works on Sherlock Holmes is like 50-50. So me
some
playing
of the puzzles
all
in those
the
games
Professor
are really
Layton
fun.
Games.
Well, like, they're good.
Yeah, they are good.
There you go.
Or I could just play Civ 6 continuously until 7 comes out.
That is a possibility. We could all just do things as opposed to doing other things.
Yeah. Or I could lie on the floor. One of those 3 things is gonna happen.
Oh, the ceiling does need to be looked after. That's a good point.
Alrighty. Should I do the summary, or did anybody else have any other comments then?
Without going too into it, I'm kind of like a huge fan of Ryunosuke, the main character. He has quickly risen in the ranks of like favorite attorney, and the only like 2 other attorneys are Apollo and Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, I feel
Athena.
like I definitely have stuff to say, but
Poor Athena.
Listen, it's
not her fault. It's not her fault.
It's literally
her fault.
It's Capcom's.
That's
Alrighty,
Capcom.
well then,
all right. Yeah, I have stuff to
I'll
say,
do the
but
summary.
let's get into it.
Yeah, and then we can go into the details.
Yeah.
So, We have entered the Meiji era. In late 19th century Japan, a young man named Ryunosuke Naruhodo has been framed for the murder of visiting UK professor John Wilson. His best friend, Kazuma Asogi, a law student, pledges to defend him. However, tensions between the UK and Japan are high as they've recently signed the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. And Kazuma has been chosen to study abroad in the UK by the government. As such, defending his best friend in court is frowned upon, and failure would likely result in his trip being cancelled entirely. As such, Professor Yujin Mikotoba advises Ryunosuke to defend himself. Ryunosuke declares his self-defense in court, and Kazuma opts to play the assistant role. He coaches Ryunosuke on all of the gameplay techniques that he'll need, such as presenting evidence, pressing, and dealing with multiple witnesses at once. After dealing with a kleptomaniac waiter, who's actually a police investigator, a soldier and his young son, and a curio collector, Ryunosuke draws out proof that an Englishwoman was there as well. Giselle Brett comes out on the stand with her silly swan hat in tow. Miss Brett is immediately very racist, and given that she's the real killer, it makes for an incredibly satisfying takedown. Ryunosuke and Kazuma work together and piece together that it wasn't a bullet that killed Dr. Wilson, but poison yet unknown to Japanese toxicology. This is due to Susato Mikotoba, Professor Mikotoba's daughter, bringing Brett's medical study notebook to the court as evidence. After much poison and beefsteak back and forth, including Miss Brett destroying a bottle of evidence blatantly in front of the entire court, Ryunosuke finally pins the crime on her. However, afterwards in the lobby, it's revealed that Miss Brett won't face justice in Japan, but will instead be sent to Shanghai, where a British consular court will try her, going against all of the new treaties. Everyone goes to dinner to celebrate, unsure of what the changing world will hold for them next. So yeah, that was case one, our tutorial case.
Yay!
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
My number one question, Ryunosuke Naruhodo is supposed to be the ancestor of one Phoenix Wright, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
All right,
so.
follow-up question. Mm-hmm. Our homie, the guy with the bandana, his name is obviously, I know very well because I paid attention. His name is Asogi, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Who is he the ancestor of someone else?
His name, Asogi, does not line up with any Japanese Phoenix Wright characters.
New
right?
guy. New dude.
New guy.
New guy spotted.
New guy.
Yes, so
right.
he is not explicitly an ancestor of anyone here.
Because Ouchie
although
is obviously...
there's certainly some parallels that you could probably start to suss out, but I will not allude to any of those myself. But, you know, there's definitely a lot of... Takumi's playing with that realm, right? Like, you know the archetypes. You know, you've got your Naruhodo, obviously, he's Phoenix Wright's ancestor, you know. So that's literally what we're doing there. The simple explanation is, you know, hey, yeah, Phoenix has some Japanese descent, you know. So it's like an optimistic version of immigration in the future, right? And Japanifornia, you know, things just kind of worked out nicer than they did in the real world. And that's just kind of our excuse, right? So that's all right.
This is like the Jonathan Joestar. Naruhodo is the Jonathan Joestar to Phoenix Wright's, fuck, how old is he? I gotta remember where in the Joestar timeline exists. It wouldn't be Josuke. It'd be more like Giorno. If you had to compare...
What?
If you had to compare Phoenix Wright to a JoJo, which JoJo would you pick? Is it Josuke?
Probably.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Because, like, Giorno's a mob boss.
Friends, you know.
But, like...
Giorno acts like he's got shit figured out, and he doesn't.
No,
Josuke doesn't have shit figured out, and he makes sure that everyone knows that. And True. I feel like that's Phoenix.
I feel like
Phoenix would be more likely to go on like a Scooby-Doo gang like murder mystery thing than he would be to like, you know, all that shit that happened in Vento
rather than like take over the mob family.
Yeah, which I read with the really bad translation, and now I'm like, oh boy.
Rose, I am Predator shaking your hand right now.
We're handshaking right now, yeah. I was the only one for so long.
I love generational stories, and it's so interesting to see like a new person. I'm kind of in love with Ryunosuke because he is somehow even more stressed out than Phoenix Wright, the man's most stressed out man.
Oh my god, his animations, the animations in this are really they're stunning,
good. They're delicious.
His eyes are constantly moving all over the place because they're like, oh, he's got good powers of observation, right? But also like,
and then he dissociates like in the middle of stuff.
He's just a nervous, squirrely little fuck. He raises his hand to object. It's really cute.
He does not object. He only says yes as if he's responding in class, which is fantastic. So in the English translation, they made him 22 years old, but he definitely looks like he's wearing a high school outfit. Is he in high school in the Japanese translation?
They're in college.
They're in university. Yeah.
Do they have uniforms in university in Japan?
I would think around that time, probably.
Fair play.
Imperial Yume University is where both he and Asogi are going.
Yeah, they're both well, let's be clear. Is Ryunosuke a law student? No, right?
No.
It does not seem
just
so.
Cosmo.
I want to know what his degree is so bad, because if it turns out to be art, I'm going to lose my mind. For some reason, this
I don't think they ever really say.
They don't say. They say they're both taking English classes, and they both seem to be doing pretty well in them. Because they're able to kind of understand. Because when you first
they have a grasp of it.
Yeah, when you first get the murderer lady, who's basically wearing a big hat with swan on it that says, I'm a murderer.
And her name is sort of close to the word Jezebel, which is really funny to me.
Kind of wild.
Her name is apparently a elaborate reference to basically in Japanese her name is Giselle Bullet. And that is the Giselle is the type of gun that shot Watson.
Gotcha.
So that's basically what her reference is here. And then in the US version, rather than just having her name be Giselle Bullet, they changed her last name to Brett to kind of make it, I guess, just make it sound a little bit more like a real last name. It could be a
I feel like
reference.
It takes away the fun Phoenix Wright silly name thing.
Yeah, I mean, some people think it could be a reference to Jeremy Brett, who played Sherlock Holmes in the 1984 Granada TV series version of Sherlock Holmes. But I don't know.
I feel like that's a little bit of a reach.
It's a pull, right? Yeah. So, but
that does seem like a very possible pull, though.
Yeah. But yes, given all the Sherlock Holmes references and given how already Giselle is a little bit of a, pull for like the fact that that's just the type of gun that shot Watson, right? So that's kind of the stuff that they're pulling from here. But yes, you were saying, Rose, about English and her talking, right?
Oh,
and
yeah,
Ryunosuke understanding her.
She gets somebody else to translate for her for a while, and both you and your little friend are like, okay, seems like he's translating that fairly well. Awesome. Which I thought was a nice, because we're going to London for sure with him, right? Like, there's no way around it. We're definitely going. So
I think there's a solid possibility. This is just like me shooting from the hip. I think there's a solid possibility that Asogi was supposed to go to Britain if he solved this case, but if we solved it, we go, and he's not telling us that because there was like hints of something like, and don't forget, Asogi, your mission, and then from his like teacher, and then guy was just like, oh, I don't know about that. He just didn't tell us what that like thing was about, right?
Yeah, what his mission is, whatever that might be.
I think that the favor he's going to ask us is, please come with me as my assistant.
As you're his Watson?
Yeah, but then you're going to end up solving shit, because he's definitely going to get arrested for murdered / whatever.
/ accused of murder.
Yeah.
All of it's possible on the table. As far as opening cases go, the length of this opening case was 3 hours. And I kind of had to say that maybe it should have been a little shorter, just because it's the opening fucking case. Maybe, here's my thing, is that, like, this game has to establish a lot of lore pretty quickly. And it has to, like, introduce us to a lot of characters and, like, feed us those characters pretty quickly as well. So, like, the game takes a little bit to, like, really start ramping up.
Yeah.
Just I also like, didn't mind as much that it was a little longer and talkier, because they gave us, like, a solid, like, each third, like, break save point, the kind that Tiago likes, where, okay, time to stop playing for now, you've played for, like, a little over an hour.
Yeah,
save,
exactly.
Put down the DS. The Switch.
Don't forget to take breaks.
Yeah. So it didn't feel as long.
I think it didn't feel as long, only probably because I think that, again, Shu Takumi is kind of helming this, and it's broken up in such a way that you kind of know the pacing of it, right? Like, you know, when you get this chunk done, you've already done this much of the case. You've already done the tutorial portion of the case. Now we're going to get into the middle bit where you do, you know, slightly harder stuff, and then there's the apex climb of the story, and then the fall, the drop down, and then you solve it and everything. It just feels like, I'm probably going to say this a lot, it feels a lot like the first game, because it's Shu Takumi again. It has the pacing of the Shu Takumi writing, and it feels like I felt like I knew how long this is going to take, and I was comfortable with it, and it ended when I expected it to end.
I can agree with that, because I recall playing the second part, and, like, I didn't get to finish in that day, but I knew for sure that if I went back to it, I would have been finished in 10 minutes, and lo and behold, I was.
Right.
So, like, the pacing is... I like the pacing a lot, because you could really tell where, like, the chunks are going to break up. I think I'm just, like, a little hesitant, because we've had cases go on for too long, and I'm like, oh, geez, alright, here we go again. But I am, like, giving... What am I about to say here? What is the sentence I want to say? I understand that this game is being handled by someone who does know about pacing. I am just someone who I feel like got bit by the last two, and I don't want to get bit a third time.
I mean, I think
the wounds are still open.
The wounds are still open. I mean, listen, the Band-Aid that was Bobby Fulbright only lasted for so long. I needed that, but I didn't get it in the last one.
The thing is like, obviously these games are always gonna get longer, right? In a way, because there's just the simple escalation of it all, most of the time, right?
Power scaling.
It's just like, well, we want to give you more, we want to give you better than last time. But if I have any criticism of this first case, I do think that there could have been some trimming around the whole beefsteak section. Yeah. I think there was a little bit too much back and forth with it. I
figured it out because my instinct is to examine everything. So I immediately figured out, I was like, oh, there's a coin here. This is the other guy's steak. And then it wouldn't let me do anything with it until I got
curse of solving stuff too soon.
That the judge was like, okay, show me what there is. And I was like, ah!
You know what's crazy?
Here's the last thing, yeah.
You know what's crazy, though, is that, Rose, I haven't heard you complain about that since, like, the original trilogy.
Yeah!
So, like, that's how I know we're fucking back, baby.
Yeah, because...
we're so fucking back.
Yeah, you're right. He's doing it to me again.
Takumi, that son of a gun, he did it again. I am kind of in love with this game. I love Asogi. I love the idea of, like, the protagonist is actually the dude next to me. Like, he literally has his bandana flowing and his sword in the courtroom. We allowed that.
The bandana always waving in the breeze. Never stops.
We're in a closed room.
He has a fan just off screen. We've never had to defend ourselves before.
True, fact.
Which I thought was fun. That's great.
That's why he's so fucking nervous. Not only is he being accused of murder, but he has to fucking defend himself.
And it's his first ever trial.
Yeah.
In a field that he knows nothing about. The beginning, so like the overall murder setup is that the main character found a gun on the floor next to what appears to be a just shot body. So it looked like he killed Dr. John Watson. Watson, for all those eagle-eared listeners, is a Sherlock
that
character.
Wasn't his name.
What was his name?
Wilson.
Wilson.
What? Wilson?
Yeah.
Wilson.
Oh,
John Wilson.
Yeah, whatever. My brain replaced it with the proper one, I guess.
Yeah.
So we just have to defend ourselves against, like, the waiter, and, like, 2 people who are at the restaurant. Because luckily there's only a handful of people at this fucking restaurant.
Right.
You have to break their testimony, and then they introduce... First of all, we do their testimony at the same time, so we're getting back into, like, Professor Layton shit, where it's like,
and
they're
a little muppety. They're a little muppety.
That guy was just old. He wasn't a Muppet. He was just old.
I didn't say he was a Muppet. I said he was Muppet-y.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. So we do get, like, both their testimonies at the same time. And here's the thing, is that it kind of takes a while for you to get the opportunity to cross-examine. Because Ryunosuke is a rookie and doesn't know that you'd have to wait to cross-examine. He just starts cutting in. And even Ouchie across the bar is like, hey, yo, shut the fuck up. Get your boy, Asogi. We gotta fucking wait here.
Speaking of, we didn't really talk yet about Ouchie.
Ouchie, yep.
He looks cute. He looks cute.
He's
a
samurai...
bastard, but he looks cute.
But yes, this is Winston Payne. When he was in the original Japanese version of the game, his family name was Ouchie.
Yep.
So all this is doing is getting to finally deploy that joke from the Japanese version of the game into English after all this time. It's just Ouchie. Instead of Winston Payne here, it's Ouchie. Ooh, ow.
Ooh, ah. What was his first name?
In this game?
Yes.
Takatsuchi.
Takatsuchi Ouchie.
Takatsuchi, yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that if there was a pun, that I knew what it was.
Yeah, I think it's just the Ouchie part is the pun here, I believe.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. I think Ouchie is a good first... I mean, Ouchie is always a good first, like, training dummy, right? Like, it's always very satisfying to get this stupid prick.
He's such a whiny bastard. Because he's the whole thing about, like, oh, I want to stick to traditions. I don't like these English, like, these, like, English customs and these, like, Western ideas coming in. I want to stick with... And then the second he fucking sees an English lady, he's like, oh, of course, anything for you, miss.
Right.
Obviously, a lovely British lady such as yourself is so much better than us. And I was like, you fucking hypocrite, you piece of shit.
Goddamn.
And his animation in which he slams his head down when he bows onto the desk, the sound effects
Forgive me, English lady.
So good. It's so good.
I think the most interesting thing about Ouchie is that because he is like a traditional samurai, he carries like a fan, and whenever he waves the fan across his face, it cleans his expression. Like, it goes back to a stone face, which I think is
the character on his fan says guilty.
Oh, does it? I did not know that. That's really good. I think what else happened is we get our judge. Now, I don't think this judge is going to be our permanent judge, because this judge
he's too hot to be our permanent judge.
I'm shaking your hand, Rose.
I'm shaking your hand back.
I don't disagree. I just, like, I looked at him and went, you're almost too normal to be our judge. Like, we need a cartoon character. And you're
you make some
human being.
You make some impassioned arguments for truth and justice, and he like listens to you and gives you a shot.
Yeah, he listens to you.
And is like, no, I will stand up for the truth. You don't have to fucking trick him or like buy him snacks or like.
Yeah.
What's up with this judge? He's so even-handed.
He's like so impartial and true to the law.
He's not a Sunday newspaper character, and therefore I think he can't be our judge.
Sure.
So, let's see. We got Asogi, our homie. We got the main character, Naruhodo. Achi's the fucking prosecutor. The new judge is here. The first two witnesses are the colonel who, his gimmick is that he has a baby strapped to his back, but he won't talk about him for some reason.
It's a cute baby.
It's a cute baby.
We technically do get Hosonaga first. He gives a brief, like, the first intro testimony, and then
the butler, yeah.
So, which is really funny because
the head
Satoru
waiter.
Hosonaga, he's a waiter. He's constantly coughing up blood.
He's got fucking wasting disease.
He's got fucking tuberculosis.
He's got TB.
This man is not okay.
Now everybody in fucking court has TB.
But he's doing his best to stand upright, and he, of course, he is the waiter, so to speak, and he hands over a little card with the map. And then one of the very first tutorials you get is how to examine objects in 3D. So you turn it around and see that on the back of the card it says, secret inspector, for the police.
Why would you have
Satoru
business cards made that say that?
Why would you give it up? Like, you gave up the ghost so quickly. Fucking incredible.
And that is how you get the reveal that he's actually working for the police undercover here at this restaurant to catch thieves, because apparently there have been a spate of robberies here, people stealing from rich people at this fancy restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Something that is important to note is that this is a closed court. It is not open to the public because Dr. John Wilson was a English foreigner just after apparently Japan signed a treaty with Europe, Britain. So,
and this treaty that they refer to here is called the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. It is not technically real, right? But it seems to be based off of two actual treaties, right?
Yeah.
That actually happened during this time period, which were the 1854 Anglo-Japanese Friendship Treaty and the 1894 Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Commerce and Navigation. So they're kind of mixing the two together, and we don't get an exact year for what this is either. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. But, it's late 19th century, so we're kind of pulling some of this stuff in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is important because they need to wrap this shit up quick, which means we need to get the accused Ryunosuke in the fucking under the blade by 2 knights, or whoever killed the guy. Because we fucking interrogate those sons of bitches, and then we find out that they've been silenced, and they won't mention the English woman. They refuse to, everyone refuses to mention a woman. They've never seen a woman in this restaurant. And I just,
sorry, go ahead.
I just refuse to believe that.
Yeah. And the thing is Ryunosuke keeps saying, I saw a woman there. There was a woman there sitting there with Dr. Wilson, right? I saw a woman there. And then when they finally get her out on stage, you have this really funny moment in which Cosmo's like, you kept calling her a woman, Ryunosuke. But that's like the last thing that's important about her because her outfit is insane.
He's like, literally, you could have mentioned anything else about her. That would have been helpful.
Her insanely huge hat and elaborate dress. But yeah, so we have to
describe the woman. We would have had a better shot of finding her.
Yeah. Your incredible powers of observation.
My guy not paying attention to women, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that's the only thing he retained. So maybe he is looking out for a woman, but very basic.
Not well.
Sure.
Not well. Kind of like a mole when he goes on to the above ground. You know what I mean? Just notices things. Oh,
he
but
goes,
yeah, we have
he
to.
He was so infatuated with Dr. Wilson. He goes, sees her and goes, "Oh, a woman," and then goes back to
introducing himself to Dr. Wilson.
Well, Miles Edgeworth poor, honestly.
Woman acknowledged.
But yeah, to get the existence of this woman even out of the mouths of the two witnesses, we have to go through a little bit of, rigmarole. And these two are Iesa Nosa, an Imperial Army sergeant, and Kyoryo
Korakuta,
an antique dealer.
Oh, now that you say it out loud, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Iesa Nosa was more obvious because he's like an army surgeon, so it's like, yes sir, no sir.
And I don't know his son.
I don't know his son. Good point. Weird military man, but also he makes a point to talk about like the veterans, and I'm like, I can't hate him. Like he does say like, this country did kind of like give up on its veterans, and I'm like, damn homie, ain't that the truth?
Yeah, just don't ask him what he did 10 years ago.
No, don't ask him about that. Don't ask.
Do not ask questions.
Do not ask questions. We break down their testimonies to get the woman out here, and it is at this point that like the real court case kind of begins, because before, for me, I mean honestly, just these two guys were just talking and refused to mention a woman, but then it's like becomes very obvious that like they're missing details about something that would have happened if they were obviously there, like
right.
Interrogating them wasn't that particularly interesting to me, only because I saw them as obstacles. And then like this case is broken up into 3 parts. Parts 2 and 3 are when you get to like talk to the woman. So that's when like
I liked the funny little animations where the baby keeps like climbing up his back and he keeps pushing the baby back down.
Yeah, like, that is very good.
Yeah, that's relatable.
So we finally get Jezebel Brett out, because it takes so long for that to happen. Jezebel, you never see her eyes. She has like a mask. Her hat has a giant swan on it. She's wearing like, she reminds me of one of those characters from the painting. You remember the painting they saw in Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Remember when that guy was staring at a painting, the pointillism painting? I remember, it's like one of those characters, you know what I mean, from the pointillism painting. That's the like
pointillism painting.
The pointillism.
Rose is probably fuming.
Okay, okay. I know what painting you're talking about now, but I never saw that movie.
Hey Rose, what's the name of that painting?
Hold on, I've got to make sure I'm correct.
Okay, I mean, if you look up Ferris Bueller painting, you'll find it, right?
I mean, I was about to say, isn't it just like a day at the park or something, or a day at the lake, I believe, or something like that?
A Sunday afternoon on the island of La Grande Jatte.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen.
Then I was way off base.
I know the answer, but I have this disease where if I'm like 100% sure the answer, I'm like, ooh, we gotta Google that. We gotta make sure.
To be 100% sure.
Pointillist.
Fair enough.
Yeah. To be fair, I did just Google the pointillism painting, which did yield some funny results.
That's really funny, actually.
But yeah, we are speaking of the Surratt painting, the Sunday afternoon.
Hell yeah.
Good old Surratt.
Good old Surratt.
Good now. Oh fuck. Now I'm looking at paintings.
All right, Rose, come back. Come back.
Do I gotta?
You have to. I'm so sorry. You can look after.
Okay. Oh my god, he's got such sad French eyes.
Let's focus on.
Just Google a picture of Surratt real quick.
Let's focus.
All right,
let's focus.
I'm normal. I'm closing Wikipedia.
Close Wikipedia.
It's closed.
As we get Giselle on the stand, Hosonaga starts interpreting for her because she's a visiting student, so presumably she can't speak Japanese. And every once in a while she does say something, right? And when she speaks in English, we get that portrayed in the text box with basically like little fancy cursive scribbles, except for the occasional word that comes through, like, hello, or, thank you, or something like that, right? Which is, again, in very fancy cursive font. But
It's like an interesting way to put, like...
To imply an accent, basically.
Well, to imply an accent and to kind of put it into visuals, how English would sound to a Japanese speaker. Like, they don't know what they're saying, so they're kind of making it this squiggly, unreadable, the squiggly, unreadable text, but there are some very common words, like hello and thank you, that they do understand.
Also, she will periodically react to things that you are saying in Japanese, making it fairly obvious early on, if you're paying attention, that she fucking understands.
She's a lying, conniving bitch.
Exactly. And the one thing that's kind of interesting that they will do throughout this game here is when characters are the characters' language in the text boxes obviously will pretty much always be in English, right? But when characters are speaking in Japanese to each other, you will notice that various things like saying like Naruhodo-san or something like that will show up in the text. Whereas later, if they are speaking English to somebody else, they might say Mr. Naruhodo, right? So they will use that as kind of a little way to just subtly indicate, right? Okay, these two Japanese characters are in private. There's probably talking Japanese, but it's all still written in English for you. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, if they're in court or something like that, they might be speaking English here, that kind of thing. So yes, that's why they still use honorifics here in this segment. And those will essentially mostly disappear later, the further we get into the game, as they encounter more English-speaking characters.
I know...
It's a fun little touch.
I know they'll never do it, but I love it when pieces of media just say fuck it and have the character speak in Japanese and another person just understands them in English. I love it when Tekken does that. It's so fucking funny. Also, great movie Gunhead does it as well.
Yeah, just everybody's multilingual, right?
Yeah. I can already see the sewings of we're gonna have a part of the conflict in this story is going to be the Anglo-Japanese treaty. Mm. That was difficult for me for some reason. So this case does a very good of sewing that, because we start off with someone basically going, I have diplomatic immunity, and it's like, fuck, dude, it's the first case.
Yeah, I mean, the entire time that we're prosecuting her, I know, as somebody who is, I'm not at all an expert on this area of history, even slightly, but just has a general idea of it, that, she's fine. She knows she's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is going to happen.
Yeah, she's going to get
her.
away scot-free.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
Even though she did kill another English person, which, they might take a little more seriously, she is still not only a white lady, but she's a lady,
Exactly.
Presumably an important one if they're extraditing her out to Hong Kong.
That doesn't mean that she isn't going to give us the fucking runaround, because goddamn do we have to fucking go through a lot of testimony.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say though, a lot we don't have a lot of evidence, so we don't go through a lot of testimony, but a lot of it is just logic, right? We have to figure out, okay, well, if this guy was shot, why is he in this position? Is there a way he could have killed somebody without being shot? Why'd he get that burn on his hand? If this thing was poisoned, where'd the other glass go? Why do you have a glass? A lot of questions.
Yeah.
That other people are also, willing to answer.
And as we get into kind of the details of her testimony, we vaguely talked about this a little bit earlier. But this game's not really afraid of showing her be blatantly racist to everybody in this courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
Just unequivocally, right?
Well, so far there was no slur count.
Shit.
No,
no
slurs or anything like that.
I don't think they're gonna say any slurs. Probably.
This is actually something that was a minor. I don't know if it was really a controversy, but it was a minor point of discussion, I suppose, because in the original game, the white people occasionally do use some more derogatory, old-timey, right, terms for the Japanese characters, right, in the original Japanese version. Mm-hmm. They're never anything egregious, and it's never anything that would get it up in an age rating or anything like that.
Some old timey ass shit.
But yes, you know,
some
a lot of the things like
understand.
the Orientalism, you know, using terms like Oriental or that kind of thing, right, will pop up, right? And that is kind of the approach that this localization takes. The fan translation was a little bit more. They use terms that I'm not comfortable to use right here, right now on this recording.
Yeah, don't get recorded saying that, Ben.
we are not gonna.
No. Whereas yes, the the localization that Capcom did instead, yes, uses terms like Oriental or Nippon, right? Or Nipponese, right? Which are terms that I'm not going to say a lot here on audio, but that is the way that
enough that
yes,
they perhaps have a different context.
Exactly. So, and that is kind of how they approach it there too. And again, the rest of it here is she just says, again, just some blatantly racist stuff without even using
you
terminology.
Don't need to say things in, you can be racist says, PG-13 style.
She said straight up, I will not use the language of your people because I find it gross. And I'm like, damn, yo, chill.
Yeah, and she's like, you're all stupid, your courts are stupid, you guys don't know how to do basic science. Like, you got a guy who's literally standing right next to you who's a member of the police, and you're like, your police are stupid.
We fucking got our ass, though, so straight up, square out in the, up in the fucking
And I
next
like
room.
this fucking inspector guy. He made me laugh on multiple occasions. This dude is dying. He is not long for this world. If you're coughing up blood, it is over, man. And he's like, for justice, I've done this. I'm going to preserve crime scenes. I'm a pioneer.
He really is, though.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this by just stealing all the evidence, and I don't care what anyone says. I'm like, you know what? A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do.
It's really funny, because yes, he's basically just swiped everything from the crime scene and preserved it, yes. He's kept it as pristine as he possibly can. But he has taken nearly everything from the crime scene without permission. So it's very funny.
Well, it's not like anybody else was taking it.
Yeah, he relies on that later.
It doesn't seem like it's being missed.
Yeah, he's like, you took the other beefsteak, didn't you, right? And he's like, absolutely.
I did it for the sake
everything.
of justice. I took the goddamn carpet off the floor.
Now, you know what? That guy is a point-and-click adventure game protagonist right there.
Yeah.
True.
That is the spirit.
Yeah. It's very interesting because, we see a lot of, this sounds strange now that I think about it as a sentence, but a lot of the case does build up to other parts of the case, such as how a story goes. But we do really see the fact that, let me hear me out before I sound crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
The entire purposes of the inspector was that he was here to prevent other people from finding out about Jezebel. I already forgot her real name. She's Jezebel. I'm not going back.
You just started calling her Jezebel. God forbid women do anything. No, you know what?
Listen,
God forbid women commit a murder.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not defending her.
Yeah, she's a El Racisto, okay? We don't care about her. So, he starts off taking evidence from the crime scene because he does it in order to prevent someone from being found. And then he continues to just do this, though. He's like, I'll just take more evidence. I need all of it. And thank God he did so, because we really fucking needed him to. I just love the fact that every part of this case wraps up nicely. We get to find, the old man was looking for a coin, and then it turns out the coin is lost because it turns out the military man's a thief, and he put it underneath the stake for some reason. I mean, we know the reason.
Right.
But
he panicked.
He panicked. I would too. It's just it feels nice to have a good fucking story, and I kind of like how simple it is. You know what I mean? It's not like this grand fucking Rube Goldberg machine killed this guy. It's no. Fucking Jezebel over here had a plan and she did it, and then she had to pivot because we showed up, and of course we're at the wrong place at the wrong time.
And of course, Ryunosuke just picks up the first gun he sees laying on the ground.
He thought to himself,
random gun,
grabs it.
He thought to himself, I should return this. This isn't mine.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what a good guy.
Ryunosuke Naruhodo, great guy.
Great guy, no notes, everything's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure everything will go well for him in the future.
It's so fantastic. We break down Jezebel, and then, like, it's so funny when she straight up goes, like, there's no other way to kill a person without leaving a mark, okay? There's nothing we can do. And meanwhile, we go
Why would
deep
you
in
say
our...
that?
we go deep in our mind palace, so we go, poison? Poison, everybody? And as we say that, the fucking, the assistant girl shows up and goes, I found her research. She's studying poison. And I go, Your Honor, come on.
Your Honor, are you seeing this shit?
Yeah, we get Susato Mikotoba, the Professor Mikotoba's daughter, delivering evidence here. She rushes into the court and she kind of gets like the gumshoe moment, being like, I delivered the one piece of evidence you needed at just the right time.
And she rolls up and everyone is immediately like, ew, we can't have a woman in court.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have a woman in court unless they're testifying.
God forbid a woman be in court.
Now, this is God forbid women do anything.
Yeah, that's straight up correct, yeah.
And so she's very polite, and she's like, I only ask for a minute of your time, Your Honor. And she runs the little book over to Kazuma and Ryunosuke and gives it to them. And she's like, I haven't had time to read it, but my dad said it's probably important, so here you go. And they're like, all right, I guess we'll try to read it as much as we can. And thankfully, she had all of the important stuff transcribed out for you, which includes that she's studying a new poison that Japanese toxicology reports cannot detect yet, which makes it a perfect crime. Except for the fact that, you know, Ryunosuke's here.
We fucking caught her ass, though. It's so satisfying when the first villain's a motherfucker who you straight up want to box. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so glad.
Take her out.
I'm so glad that, like,
fuck her up.
We show her up at every moment. Oh, my God.
I mean, and she does ramp things up then.
They do make the first case for these games very tasty.
Mm-hmm.
And like, speaking of tasty, when we pull out the sparkling water,
no,
she
not tasty.
Drinks...
Fuck you.
Why?
She drinks
like shit. This doesn't like water.
Whoa.
She doesn't like sparkling water.
This is like water.
Okay, listen, I can drink water if I really gotta drink water, but I will not drink sparkling water.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna. You know what? I'm a sparkling water enjoyer. I'll say it.
Yeah, I'm pro.
as well.
I think you're outvoted, but that's okay because the less sparkling water other people drink, the more there is for me.
It tastes like plastic.
Yeah.
Okay, grow up.
No.
Oh, wow.
It's fun. It doesn't taste like plastic, okay? You're not supposed to... I don't drink it at night. You drink it during the day.
Get better sparkling water.
Come to Massachusetts. We'll give you the good shit, okay?
I live in the city of Boston. We got some of the best municipal water supply in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I need some homies in the comments for this to be with me. That sparkling water is just fucking...
Lots of people hate
soda.
sparkling. Lots of people hate sparkling water.
We've never called the homies in the comments to do anything for us, but this is the moment where we need them to rise up.
This because the fucking I'm like I got 3 against me right now. 3 people who like sparkling water, and I think it tastes like ass.
A lot of people hate sparkling water.
They come
because I'm a super taster.
Extremely normal. They will not stop telling you about it even.
It's
That's true.
Bad.
My wife is a super taster, so that does give her a slight out.
Yeah, all right, fine.
Find some sparkling water with no taste, like LaCroix.
Fuck off! I can't grow up. I'm a super taster.
Okay, fine.
You know what? On the other hand, my sister, also a super taster, drinks the most god-awful seltzer I've ever put in my mouth.
Is it like the orange creamsicle one?
Yeah, it's like the orange creamsicle.
All right, that's actually disgusting.
Oh my god, do you know what
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I had I'm so sorry, listeners.
No, you need to know.
No, it's
cider that was a hard
Don't talk
cider.
for them, Ben.
I'm over 21. It was an orange creamsicle hard cider.
Did I? Huh. I think I would like that though.
You might like it. The vanilla aftertaste was a little strong, but the like orange with the apple was really nice, and it was like 50% of a really good cider.
Wait, you also tasted apple?
Yeah, because it's a hard cider. It's made with cider.
Oh, I don't like the idea of apple. If it was just orange vanilla alcohol, I would enjoy
it. It was mostly orange with a little bit of apple. And then the vanilla comes in with the steel chair, and then that was kind of the end of my enjoyment there. Anyway,
I need a sweet ass vanilla. If you give me like the herby vanilla, I think you're trying to poison me. Speaking of poison, yeah, herby.
Speaking of poison,
herby full throttle.
Herby the love bug.
Damn it! Give me the almondy poison that kills me.
Yeah,
almondy vanilla.
Speaking of poison, Jezebel drinks the water because she's like, oh, you think this is poisoned? Idiot. And then drinks it. And then we go...
And what can possibly taste worse than fucking sparkling water, but flat?
That's just regular water. That's just regular water.
Yeah, it just tastes like... Now it just tastes like... Fuck all.
Real quick. So, in the toxicology report for the poison she's studying, it says that the poison can only be used through an open wound. If it's digested, nothing bad happens.
Right.
But
her notes do say that.
Before that point was made, I thought to myself, I was galaxy braining it, and I was just like, what if it's not in the bottle? What if it's in the glass? You know
I also thought it was in the cup because she steals the cup. Why would she hide the cup if the cup didn't have poison in it?
Exactly. So like, brother in Christ, did you check the cup? I feel like if I was the accused here, I'd be like, check the fucking cup, yo. We gotta check everything here. If something's poisoned, we gotta check everything. Because we can't just let this lie around. But then it actually comes together to the sweet fact that our sweet Dr. John Wilson had a dentist appointment today. And I didn't think that was going to be relevant again, and then it became relevant twice.
Right.
So
extremely
good.
Relevant.
It was so
Did you
relevant.
notice where he got his tooth extraction done?
At a horrible, godforsaken, smelly shit place. So wait, that means Honey Clinic started in Japan and went to California. It's a branch.
And if you examine a bunch of shit,
for so long.
We're in this case, I hate going to the clinic. Fuck the doctors. I got a shot once, and it was the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Empire.
Yeah, and it's like, well, if you were going to the Hottie Clinic, then no wonder. But yes, he goes to the Hata Clinic, which again is just what the Hottie Clinic was called in the Japanese version of the game. So there you go, another title that they just get to bring back.
Cursed location
to the original version. So
cursed fucking location. Yeah, we fucking get them. It's sick. I
mean, she also drops the bottle just right in front of everybody. She's like, oh, you shouldn't just leave evidence laying around. I could just accidentally tip it over and push and kind of just drops the bottle. And we get a fun animation. We get unique animations for all this, right?
Yeah.
This is not conveyed through text like in previous games or anything like that. She actually literally takes the whole bottle and downs it.
Just get a little JPEG in a little box that spins and falls off the screen.
Right.
I do kind of miss that, actually.
And then she drops the bottle and the camera follows it. We get a lot of camera movement too in this. I don't know if everybody noticed. You get shots of the camera moving around the courtroom sometimes. It zooms in between the witnesses at one point when Susato comes in with the book.
That's where the horse should be.
Yeah. That's where the court horse should be. Yeah.
I need my horse.
Honestly, I like to imagine the judge is just on a horse.
Hell yeah.
We get the camera angle in on the stand a couple times to look at the stake. When they bring the stake out.
Yeah, they tilt the camera up and over the...
So, and again, they tilt the camera two different ways, for...
And every time they add somebody to the bench, they have to put a new bench leaf in, so the bench gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
They're leaving out, the part where, me and the judge, my dad, have to, coordinate putting the leaf in the bench, and you have to count, 1, 2, 3 to push it in at the same time, and then get
so you don't pinch your fingers?
Yeah, and then you're swearing at each other, and then your mom's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Anyways, that's what we were doing in between.
Oh my god. Yeah. what a good first villain.
Yeah, it's fun.
Jezebel, she like poison checks us, and then we check her back. The way that we check her back, though, is the most insane shit ever. Because I didn't think about it. Ryunosuke makes a valid ass point where he's just like, so you know how they use this poison to hunt, right? And they go, yeah. And it's like, would you eat the meat that it was hunting? Like, there's poison in it now, so it's gotta be safe for eating, right? And I was like, damn, yo, this guy's actually intelligent. I'm not used to playing an intelligent person.
Everybody in the court being like, damn, he's spitting though.
I know. I was like, wow. Because like I felt a little frustrated like early on, like he can't, like he objects, but like he can't get to his words out, and you have to have your
He's just nervous and he doesn't know what to do.
But once he gets into the swing of it, he's like, no, I got this. And
when he's still nervous, when he's still really nervous and not really sure, his hands just kind of plap on the table. But when he starts to get more confident, he slams his hands down.
Yeah, it felt good.
He slammed those hands, and I was like, I'm back in the fucking saddle, baby. I'm gonna fucking get this motherfucker. Truly, a good court case is when you go, we're gonna get this motherfucker. And that is, like, fantastic.
Yeah, I do that a lot, where I'm just sitting there and like, I'm gonna kill this guy. I'm gonna kill him.
Specifically this person.
Yeah, it's like a flavor that they pulled straight out of the first game, and I really, really like it. It's very satisfying.
I do love Ryunosuke's. All the animations are so fantastic.
He's cute, too.
He like slaps his hand on the table because he doesn't have the fortification of his soul. But then when he does, oh my god. When he gives that first objection... How do you feel about the voice actor for the objection?
He's very polite.
He's very polite. It's a very
polite.
It's a very polite
he's very
objection.
delicate about it.
Yeah. Because he's just finding out what that word means. He literally, like, there's a scene where they just go, there's something welling up in me. It's like when a hunter finds its prey. I was like,
I know.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. Yeah, he's like, I can finally feel it. Yeah, and he's like, like when a hunter finds its prey.
And that's
and
us.
He's like, I think I'm going to say it. I'm going to say the word that I've been wanting to say all this time. And then he says it.
Yachty.
That's truly his, I'm going to get this guy moment.
Oh, it's so good. And the theme kicks in, baby. Objection.
And the objection theme's really good.
And it's so nice. I feel we rarely get a case where like we're not even a lawyer. You know what I mean? We're always lawyers, but now we started from the bottom. We are at the bottom.
And we are not a lawyer. We are negative lawyer.
We are in the ground. We are digging our way up from the fucking almost grave that this woman put us in. Oh my lord. Yeah, we fucking get our ass with the fucking poison knowledge, but then like we have to talk about, we gotta establish, I forget, because we lose the evidence of the poison, right? So now we have to establish that it couldn't have been us who killed the professor because of positioning.
Because of the blood on the plate.
Because of the blood on the plate. Because Naruhodo, his special skill is observation. His special skill is being able to remember things. And this
includes good perception.
He really does. He's gonna fucking need it for when he goes to the Great of England. Yeah, he remembers the blood, and then like there's a whole steak debacle. Oh my god, I'm kind of losing my thread. I'm kind of like,
you're trying to remember the whole case.
I'm trying to remember the whole case, but also I'm tired right now. I gotta take a sip of water.
Yeah, it's all good. But yes, we have the Hoei era Koban coin, which is found underneath the stake.
Koban.
And this is Kyoryo's missing coin that he's been looking for the whole time, the old man. And basically, Iesanosa, he hid it there when the gunshot went off and he was worried about getting caught stealing. So he just slid it underneath his stake and swapped the two stakes. Now, here's the
stakes were never higher.
Perhaps everybody else noticed this in the first place, but basically the way that the stakes are cut ends up being very important because Iesanosa, he just bites into his steak, right? Just
like an animal.
I mean,
like
real talk, that's how I eat steak. Fuck it.
He just puts his whole fork into it and then just chomps onto it. And whereas, Giselle's steak is, sliced nicely, so because she cut little pieces off of it and that sort of thing. But it's very funny because the whole time I'm looking at the steak and I'm like, dog, if this is your steak, you were going to town, ma'am.
Yo, she's hungry, all right? You gotta let her eat.
Yeah.
It's important.
Bitch is hungry.
She's hungry. I can't believe that, like, she gets caught because of her own hotty-tottiness, Because she goes, I refuse to eat a steak that way. And it's like, oh, you refuse, ma'am? Did we get that on the record? She refuses to eat a steak this way? Well, funny enough, miss, this ain't your fucking steak. This ain't yours. Let's get the real one out. Let's see what's behind door number 2. Hosonaga gives me the fucking steak.
Yeah, Hosonaga, bring in steak number 2.
I mean, I feel like the coin being under there, like, was enough, but I guess it's kind of funny that little extra oomph added onto it really gets us there.
I think it's important because they really do establish that evidence is fucking everything in this court. Like, on the
part of
case.
it, I think the other part of it was just like, if you, just in case you forgot, you could examine things. It's like, the stakes
forget.
are, there were 2 stakes, right? There were 2 wills. And the fact that they're different because of the bite mark versus the cut mark is what eventually leads you to finally find the coin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when Nosa breaks down, also, we get a unique breakdown animation just for him as well.
Yeah.
In which his kid rides him.
Like a horse.
Or rides on his back like a horse. And we get the little trumpet noise like, everything.
That's because we're going to prosecute him afterwards for being a thief. He's not getting away with this. So fucking fantastic. So once we established that it was her steak with the blood on it, which means the only person who could have shot Wilson from that position was someone who was sitting with them, and as we know, Wilson only sat with a woman, and there's only one woman in the room because we didn't allow the other one in. That means it's her, Your Honor.
Yep.
That's my fucking thesis.
And then for Giselle's breakdown, it's also very elaborate, in which the swan on her hat comes alive and starts laying chicks, or I guess the chicks pop out of it. They were just nesting.
It does
in there
come
the whole
alive
time.
when she gets really angry a couple times, where it just kind of like poofs its wings up a little. But this time it starts flapping and going nuts.
She has chickens in her hair, listener.
It's dragging her around.
It's a baby goose, right?
And like all these little
proud
chicks
mother
are
of
just
like
popping
8.
out left and right, and they're like
the same.
Except for one black
on top
one.
of like on top of Ouchie and on top of Ryunosuke's head and that kind of
thing.
There's
some that are on
funny.
like the judge's stand and they're like pecking at like his stuff. It made me laugh.
It's a good breakdown. It's a good breakdown.
The geese on her head does cause her to fly up, and then she acts as if she's
going to heaven. You're like, get back down here. That's not where you belong.
So
that's not
funny.
where you're going, ma'am.
You're not going there, ma'am. Unfortunately, you've got a funnier place to go to. We finally get her ass, and then she says the worst line I've ever heard a fucking killer say, which is, "Hey, judge, can I speak to you in your quarters later?" And your judge goes, "Okay." And I go, "Wait, what do you mean?" Your Honor, you're not gonna...
What does she mean by that?
Your Honor, what does she mean by that? Your Honor, what do you mean by that? You can't let her do this. You can't. I built this place.
Yeah, she's getting extradited. She gets to go to Shanghai.
Do it.
I straight up don't think she's gonna make it to Shanghai. I think she's gonna go to some other fucking location. She's not gonna see justice because she's gonna show up.
She's gonna go to she's gonna go to Hong Kong and not see justice.
I think she is going to be the villain in Case 5.
You think we got another Dahlia Hawthorne?
I think there's another Hawthorne.
You know what? Dahlia Hawthorne was a lot of things. a serial killer, for example, but she wasn't openly racist.
No, not yet. We didn't give her a chance.
Yeah, good. She's dead.
I'm just saying, yeah, you're probably right. We're probably not gonna see her again. Just as a little side note,
might see her again, but
we might see her again. Before I saw this game, the GIF of the goose running around was the only piece of media that I saw from this game. So I'm really happy that was in the first case. So now I'm totally blind. I have no idea what to expect from this game at this point.
Yeah, I'm really excited. The
first time I remember watching Ben play this game, it was the fan translation
on his 3DS,
on his computer.
Yep, I've been outed.
Wow.
Wow, not a 3DS fan?
No, it was just easier.
Yeah,
I hacked my 3DS like a.
No, I know it's so easy.
It's so easy.
I know it's so easy. I know it is. But I was already just sitting at my desk anyway a lot of the times, and that's often a more comfortable way for me to play games.
If you already have the setup at your computer.
Now the second Grace Attorney, I do remember sitting on the couch. We had moved into our house. I remember him playing it on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, because now this game is available anywhere. Anyone can pick up this game and play with us.
Exactly.
And this is a good game.
I think it's nice that we discussed a little that there was I didn't know there was a fan translation because I don't know anything about this, but I think it's a good foil to the recent news that Miles Edgeworth Investigations 2 will be getting a finally released in English. So.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Everyone listener, you should go buy it. This is our first recording
since that happened.
You should go buy it, and then you should go re-listen to our old episodes where we talk about it.
But we're going to call all the characters
all the wrong names.
Different names. You know what? I'm happy with most of the names, but everyone's right. I'm not calling him Eugene.
Eustace.
Eugene would have been funnier at least.
Eustace Winner.
Eustace Winner. Yeah, because he's useless.
I am not calling him that.
I don't know 100%.
Sebastian
we'll have to wait and see.
Just
I think Eddie's cute for Ray. That's fine. I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember any other character's name, so I'm just gonna call them whatever they're called. You know what I mean?
Justine's name was fine too.
I don't remember her.
It was like Jacqueline Gavel or something like that. I don't know.
My fucking phone went off and it scared me.
People are yelling at their phones right now, listening.
No, why? Yeah. I just got
Sorry, bad memory.
Someone got me an Instagram reel and I got scared.
That's very scary.
That's so scary.
But yes, it's nice. It's nice that Investigations 2 will finally be coming out here, officially,
Huzzah!
So that more people can play it. And it'll be nice to have it up-resed in HD on modern systems. I think that's good for preservation's sake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just because I wasn't the biggest fan of it doesn't mean I don't still think it's a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I think it's necessary.
And here's the thing. It also is starting to force Capcom into a corner here.
They might have to make something new.
Yeah, because if you're going to bring over and remaster Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, you got to get level 5 on the horn. And you got to make some agreements with them, probably, and that's going to take more time. This is it. Investigations 2 is basically everything now that Capcom can do all on their own. So, talk to us, Capcom. TGS is this year in September.
Capcom, call me.
Capcom, call me. I got great ideas for some shit you can't sell to
Capcom, call me. I know I'm part of an Ace Attorney podcast, but I'd really, really love to talk to you about Monster Hunter.
we trick Capcom into calling us, and we just hand us the phone.
Capcom calls us. I just talk a lot about UMVC3. I need to do my fucking Firebrand Beautiful Joe combos. Get me back in there.
Maybe Capcom should not call us. Actually, we're not making the best case.
I need a new Mega Man's Battle Network, baby.
Us bait and switching Capcom would be hilarious.
They call us and we fucking just attack them. You know?
I mean, that I've made my position clear.
That you would attack them?
I would attack.
Okay, sounds good. I mean, I'm not gonna stop you. It's not my place.
Capcom doesn't have, like, the most of my ire as far as game companies go, but I would still probably go out swinging just cause.
I feel like it's our duty.
I could be mad at Capcom, but as soon as they drop a Monster Hunter in front of me, my brain shuts off. So
yeah, you're like a cat with a toy.
Be mad at them about Monster Hunter.
I thought for a split second, what are the companies I would just straight up fight that are video game companies?
All of them.
I think it would be easier to list companies I wouldn't fight, and there is none I can think of right now.
Yeah.
So there's that whole thing.
Well, maybe if they give us some more Ace Attorney, I won't have to fight Capcom.
I'll forgive them.
Yeah.
I'm not going that far, but
I'll forgive them for some stuff. Not everything.
It's a start.
It's a start.
Yeah.
They have to actually do it, though.
Yeah, healing is a process.
Mm-hmm,
and so Capcom needs to be the one to offer the first olive branch.
True.
Well, their first olive branch was that they did not lay off a shit ton of people.
I guess that, yeah, compared to the rest of the industry, I guess that's true. Capcom,
I guess you're not wrong about that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Now that we spoke that into the microphone, by the time this podcast comes out...
that can't be our fault. We deny everything.
Yeah,
watch out, Capcom.
Yeah, you know, Capcom, if I see you in the streets, fucking square up.
It's on site.
It's on site. Alright, I think we've sufficiently lost the thread enough.
Yeah, just to wrap up
maybe
this case.
Ago. Yeah.
There is one other moment that I wanted to bring up. I guess two, technically. One is that at the very end, Cosma says, "Ouchie, you suck."
Yes.
And proceeds to cut his top knot off, releasing his hair as it cascades down, and promises him that even after 1,000 years, Ouchie's clan would never, ever be able to ever compete with Naruhodo's.
He curses him.
Weird,
basically,
weird ass claim to make, but I guess it's true.
It's just it's like in Skyward Sword when Demise curses Link and says,
"That's what
forever,
I thought.
Forever, my my entity, my persona, my energy will follow you for all generations. All of your ancestors and all of my ancestors will be locked in eternal combat forever."
That's kind of stupid, but whatever.
Basically, the origin of
why Link has to fight Ganondorf all the time.
Wait,
yeah.
Is that true? I never played Skyward Sword.
Yeah, no, that's real.
Now I never will.
It's kind of dumb.
I'm not the biggest Skyward Sword fan.
Skyward Sword was a little mid, in my opinion. All
right, sounds good. I'm glad that we all feel that way.
As our good friend Iro says, there's like a really good 8-hour game hidden in that massive game. Right?
I agree.
You know,
yeah, facts.
There's a lot of fat you could cut off of it and make a really tight, really good Zelda game in there. But there's a lot of cruft otherwise. But yes, so that's kind of fun. We get our little curse on Ouchie to forever curse his family name. And then, you get the little note where, Gisele's like, "I won't talk to you later, Judge." And then out in the lobby, the Mikotobas are there, and they meet Cosma and Ryunosuke. And, Professor Mikotoba's kind of like, "Well, so I don't want to rain on your parade, but she's going to Shanghai." And Cosmo's like, "Well, wait a minute. We just signed a whole bunch of treaties that were all about not sending criminals to other countries. Like, we try them here now. If they commit a crime here, we try them here. That's the whole point of these treaties." And he's like, "Well, she's special, so sorry." And that's kind of left there. And they kind of have to say, like, "Well, don't beat yourself up too much. You still won the case.
You're still not a convicted murderer.
You're not guilty. Yeah, you're not going to be in trouble." And Cosmo still gets to go on his trip.
Yeah, she's definitely like the daughter of someone important or whatever,
She's Moriarty's English. Daughter.
He's probably dead at this point, right?
Does the Sherlock Holmes have another major antagonist, Rose?
Not really, actually.
The only thing I know about...
Fun fact, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wasn't even that wild about Moriarty. He just kind of wanted to kill Sherlock Holmes so he could write something else. It didn't work out for him. But
I know.
Sometimes you're tethered by your most popular creation.
I knew about Moriarty because there's a Star Trek, The Next Generation episode where Moriarty is like legit in the fucking holodeck becomes self-aware and is like, so I'm a hologram, right? And we're all just like, yeah. And he goes, cool, get me out of here. I want to live life. And
No
then the fucking captain has to be like, we have to respect all life. Yeah, let's get Moriarty out of here.
Oh my God.
It'd be fucked up if we didn't. You know? So fucking funny that they give life and his immediate response is like, alright, fine. Anyway, I doubt that's gonna happen here. I don't think this is the holodeck in this game, unless Little Thief has a really old ancestor.
Little Thief is still too OP, and I stand by that.
Yeah.
I agree. Makes perfect sense to me. I think I love Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a fantastic guy. I love how, like, he is...
Cute.
He's a pretty cute guy. I want to say that he's, like... To me, he's, like, healer-coded. You know what I mean? Does that make sense to anybody?
He's, support-coded.
He's support-coded. Yeah, he's like a white mage.
You're saying he's a support class. Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying he's a support class. And
interesting.
I, like... Phoenix Wright definitely, I want to say, was, like, DPS. You know? Like, because he really did try a bunch of random shit in court, and for some reason it worked sometime. But, like, this guy truly is just, like, looking at his, like...
Phoenix was born support, but handed a gun.
Handed a gun?
Alright. We gotta wrap up a little bit here.
How do you feel about Ryunosuke?
I like him. I'm excited to see where things go. I'm feeling pretty positive on this so far. Yeah. Excited to see our little friend get accused of murder immediately upon arriving in London.
All
right. Well, then yeah, I think that's a pretty decent place to leave it here for now, because we'll have plenty more to discuss next time. So that will do it for us this week then. As always, you can keep up with the show via our website, updatedautopsy.report. That has links to everything that we do and all of our social media accounts. And you can also watch all of our Let's Plays with Dessy and I playing through the game at youtube.com/@Yotsuben. You can follow me on all social media at Yotsuben. Dessy, how about you?
I don't know. You can find me somewhere in Final Fantasy right now, unfortunately.
And Tiago?
You can find me at Tiago S. Dutra on the website formerly known as Twitter. Inside my bio is my link tree. You know what? I should just put my Venmo up there in case you guys want to hand me cash.
Rose really needs cash.
Yeah, Rose, I'll connect Rose's Venmo.
I am actually probably the poorest one.
Rose, I'll connect your Venmo to my Twitter account so that if they Venmo me, you get the money.
Interesting. Okay.
It's a little roundabout, but okay.
It's a bold
how about
play.
You, Rose?
We'll see how it pays off. You can find me at Rose Nonsense on various social media websites. You can also just, I don't know, find me lying on the floor because it's so goddamn hot.
It's really hot. Well, thank you so much for listening. We hope you'll rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. Next time, we will be playing the second case of the Great Ace Attorney, titled The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band.
I don't know what the...
See you next time.
I have no idea what the fuck that possible case could mean. Yeah.
I'll tell you Rose what that knows. Is. That's a Sherlock Holmes short story title.
Oh, Rose, so you know everything. You've got insight. Eyes on the inside.
Well, I don't know everything. It's been a while. Actually, you know, I take that back. I don't know anything.
You have eyes on the inside. You have your bloodborne insight right now.
Yeah, that is true. You know, what if we just show up in London and it's like Yarnum? England is Bloodborne is a game about how England is just like that.
I would love it if, like, fucking Asogi goes to Naruhodo and be like, alright, so you have your eyes on the inside, huh, right? He goes, what do you mean?
Isn't that not what Apollo had?
Apollo had insight. Oh my god, he had so much insight.
His eyes on the outside were so strong, they were on the inside.
Dude, imagine fighting Apollo Justice in Bloodborne. He just gives you frenzy by looking at you.
There is... Yeah, I mean, that's just a basic enemy in Bloodborne. Frenzy. I don't know what you're talking about.
I got really excited about a fucking possible Bloodborne AU of Ace Attorney for some reason.
Holy shit.
Alright, Tiago, that can be our bonus episode. We'll start working on that.
I
am going to turn my AC back on or I'm going to die.
I just think about what it'd be like to fight with Law and Yarnum. That's my thing. Alright, we're calling it here.
Yep.
We're excited. We're excited about the new game.
Yay!
Alrighty.
Yay!
Bye!
Bye!
Bye!